We filled 3 buses with school supplies. You donated notebooks, pens, pencils, and so much more for our local students.
Thank y'all so much.
Making their school year a little bit brighter.
I helped the kids out this morning.
Thank you to everyone who stopped by and chipped in. We'll see you again next year. Our investigation of 1,000 hours of video revealed a mayor who misses meetings and a security detail who could be improperly earning taxpayer dollars.
Must be nice.
Tonight, we bring you our series that launched 2 separate investigations.
So, Mr. Zurich, thank you for being here. It kind of freaks me out to see you.
A series of stories the mayor tried to label as unethical.
It was fair, balanced. It raised a lot of serious questions as to exactly what was going on during the workday.
Inconsistent timesheets, a questionable relationship, improper payments, fancy hotel rooms, and dinner with Brad Pitt.
Thank you very much,
It's a
sir.
public
Thank
records
you.
request. We
Thank
got the
you,
video
sir.
via public
And
records request.
we know, and thank you very much.
Here's Lee Zurich with Outside the Office.
A tip that the mayor was utilizing the city-owned Upper Puntaba apartment for personal use led us to comb through more than 1,000 hours of video from a public security camera just outside the apartment. All of this sets the stage for our months-long investigation into New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell. That footage, along with hundreds of pages of public records, revealed a mayor who may be in violation of city policy and state law, spending hours of the workday inside the apartment with a member of her security detail, doing little work for the city. All of this compiled and analyzed by our team that found a mayor spending time outside the office. August 2nd of this year, 8:03 in the morning, Mayor LaToya Cantrell arrived at the city-owned Upper Puntaba apartment. In the car with her, security detail NOPD officer Jeffrey Vappy. He walks her to the door and leaves. But minutes later, Vappy entered this door that leads to the apartment, and for 5 hours and 40 minutes of his workday, Vappy stayed inside that door. A public records request shows between 10 and 6 that day, the mayor didn't make or take one work call on her cell phones, and for those 8 hours only responded to 2 emails. One at 10:56 a.m., 2 sentences, asking that a complaint about a mechanical permit be forwarded to the correct person, and one at 2:06 p.m., 2 sentences again, to someone with the Vieux Carré Commission. Much of the workday, an NOPD officer in charge of protecting the mayor was paid to spend nearly 6 hours of his workday inside a city-owned apartment building with Mayor Cantrell.
Is it fair for us to ask questions about this?
It's fair to ask questions because this is a taxpayer-owned property, and these are employees paid by the taxpayers.
As you can see, it is raining really hard right now. We are on Frisco Avenue in Old Araby near the river, and you can hear the lightning, you can hear the thunder right now, you can see the lightning, and I actually just talked to a resident who told me that she believes she's hearing that a possible tornado ripped through some homes down here.
This is Gretna. Look at this incredible sight as this funnel is just moving. Could you imagine looking out your window and seeing this?
We saw it on the news that it was passing, and this area was hit, of course, 8 months ago. So we were used to it, and so I grabbed my kids, my wife, and told them to go in the bathroom in the hallway, and just that fast, within a minute.
This is the home of Mary Kenny. Mary was actually doing repairs to this home from Hurricane Ida. She was living in this trailer that you see over here, and she got an alert on her phone. When she got the alert, she ran from the trailer into the house. While she was running, she actually looked up and saw the tornado bearing down on her, coming across the levee. She went into the home, ran and sheltered in the bathroom, in the bathtub.
We could see it coming across the levee. As soon as we got in the house, we got in the bathroom, in the tub, and our ears started popping and everything was gone and everything was falling on us. We just held on to each other and prayed. We just prayed.
You can see behind me, this building is destroyed. It is a warehouse building and it houses the Justice Brew Coffee, but We just want to give you a closer look at the damage.
As the sun rises on the West Bank, many residents may begin assessing damage done by the tornado.
This is a live look at the area right now from our Fox 8 drone. Our drone photographer Jake Rosenberg flying the drone over that area in Gretna. This is the same tool that, assessors will use when they're making these assessments for insurance, for the National Weather Service. So it's just an invaluable tool to have a look like this live on TV here. You're not going to see this anywhere else.
And you can see right there,
I was going to say,
the tornado goes from left to right across the screen, right between those houses, but look across the street, and there's absolutely nothing. It shows you how this tornado was very skinny in size.
Maybe 2 seconds later, you heard the classic clashing of the trains.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my wife walked in. I told her, hit the ground. The tornado's coming through. And 4 seconds later, it was all over.
Residents across southeast Louisiana assessing the damage after multiple tornadoes ripped through the area. Those tornadoes were only a few of at least 21 that hit the state in the last 24 hours.
Residents are now picking up the pieces. It's the big cleanup now as they begin that recovery process.
36 years. I've been living back here since 1986. There ain't nothing compared to this.
We've got a lot of donations already, and we've only been going for about a little over a half hour. We're going to be going all day long until about 1 p.m. But just check out what we got so far. Now remember, we're partnering up here with Rouse's and Second Harvest Food Bank.
A whole meal of stuff in there. They make it super easy for you just to go and snag one of these, and you're helping a family with just $10.
After disaster strikes our community, we know how you step up to help, time and time again. Thanks to you and your generosity, many in our community struggling this holiday season will at least have something to eat. That's what Local First is all about, taking care of friends and neighbors. Being there every step of the way, keeping you informed and keeping you and your family first. Fox 8, Local First.
There's a seatbelt cutting. Keep the head out of the water. Extraction team, where's the team?
Index. All call signs, index.
Through the murky water of Lake Pontchartrain, the Southeast Louisiana Underwater Search and Recovery Program prepares first responders across the region for the worst-case scenarios.
We're going to put you in here and do exactly what you would be doing. We'll hit some of these dirty bayous. We'll hit Bonneville Boat Launch, West End, places like that to where you can't see much.
They've gone over what to do if a diver goes unconscious in the water, making a rescue of a teammate to remove him from the water.
And through most of that training, the biggest skill they learn may be the most eye-opening. Most of this training is blind.
They have to do everything by feel with a line to go along there.
If you've never experienced anything like that, you panic or run low on gas and you have a true emergency.
So with a cover over their masks, they dive through tunnels, around ropes, between floating tarps, all obstacles designed to simulate potential perils underwater, diligently practicing those skills so when they get the call, they can do what many others can hardly fathom.
Everybody knew RJ. RJ was huge into hunting, huge into the kids, getting them involved in anything and everything outdoor.
His passion, though, scuba and fishing. It was June 27th, 2020, when RJ and his brother and a few friends went diving near a rig in the Gulf. Toward the end of their dive, RJ nabbed a drum and a snapper, then headed for the surface.
They saw RJ. RJ was coming up with his fish. By the time they got onto the boat and got their tanks off and got onto the boat, they looked down and RJ wasn't there.
His brother immediately dove back down, determined to find RJ.
He knew he was running out of air, so he came back up. But, his love for his brother brought him back down again. And he did that several times. And then when he came back up, they grabbed him and told him that he cannot do that again. And when I walked in and I saw the pure devastation in his brother, I knew that he wasn't coming home.
Her husband's body at the bottom of the Gulf, Janelle was certain she'd never truly get to say goodbye.
You never get to bury them. There's no closure. And it was our biggest fear.
But seemingly out of nowhere, Mark Michaud and his team got right to work.
We're in international waters and nobody but the FBI had jurisdiction. We brought in special divers. The guy that's teaching this class right now, Josh Gibbs, was also there with us.
It was about 225 feet down, somewhere around there. and they were able to capture images with the sonar. That was amazing because you could see a lot. You could definitely tell that that was Orjay.
It was a shred of hope in a world of pain that kept Janelle going, just a chance that her husband would not be forever lost.
To never have him back home again would have been just so devastating that I believe that Mark and his team, that they helped us start the healing process when they called and said, we have found him and we're gonna recover his body, he's coming home. They suited up and like heroes. And they went down and they got him. And they brought him home to us.
Life plans destroyed in an instant.
We really didn't worry about the money. I just wanted my brother back.
Bones broken.
My husband called the ambulance. I was transported to the hospital.
Homes left cracked and crumbled.
In this shit, everything in it was cracking.
Yet victims wait years, even decades for their money.
Even though he had this big judgments against the city, they were living under a bridge.
$36 million. That's how much the city of New Orleans owes to hundreds of plaintiffs who sued the city and won. But for years or even decades, the victims haven't gotten their money. And that's left them emotionally and financially drained.
My baby brother, I changed his diapers, birthed him, fed him. Yeah. Yeah. It hurts. It hurts.
Angela Stewart remembers rushing to the scene near Charity Hospital back in 2003. A speeding police car driving with no siren hit her baby brother.
He was in a coma, oh my God, month and a half, a little over a month and a half.
7-year-old Lance Stewart survived, but his brain hasn't fully recovered. Strapped with medical bills, the Stewarts filed suit against the city of New Orleans.
We really didn't worry about the money. I just wanted my brother back. Just wanted to have some type of normalcy.
In 2006, a judge awarded the Stewarts $4 million, but 16 years later, they continue to wait for full payment.
We've all been struggling. And it's not like we ran to the city, oh, y'all owe us money, you know, we need this, that. We didn't. We fought our way through this because we didn't think they were ever going to pay because we didn't, they showed us they did not care.
And the Stewarts aren't alone. In nearly 500 separate cases, the city of New Orleans is a deadbeat, owing more than $36 million in unpaid judgments, 4 of them 26 years old, dating back to 1996.
In the event that they do settle, or when they settle, my mother won't see one dime because my mother passed. That's what's even worse.
We've sold 8,200 tickets. That's just a few minutes ago.
That's crazy. Olivia Vidal is at the Dream Home in Metairie with a look at all the prizes you could win if you buy your ticket today.
Rob and John, just seconds ago, I asked for an update. We're at 8,600 right now. And if we reach that 9,000 tickets sold marker, we've already sold more than we did at this point last year. So we're off to a good start. You can see behind me, the St. Jude Dream Home is still under construction. Work is being done right now. It's over 2,600 square feet of living space, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's going to be beautiful.
Tickets to the 2023 New Orleans St. Jude Dream Home are sold out. Be sure to watch Fox 8 on Thursday to see who will win the house, built by Hyman L. Bartolo Jr. Contractors Incorporated. The 2023 Mazda CX-30 Select from the Peretti family of dealerships and a $2,500 Visa gift card from Gulf Coast Bank and Trust. Thank you for making a difference in the lives of children with cancer. Watch Fox 8 on Thursday to find out who will win.
It all started with an email from Sierra Dobard to the Fox 8 defenders, begging for help. Sierra lives here at the Willows apartment complex in New Orleans East.
And it's probably spread all over inside the wall.
Mold grew in her family's living room.
We complained to the office several times. I've talked to the owner, I talked to management.
In their bedroom,
right here, it's soft in the wall. It's just kind of, it's sinking in.
Her neighbor showed off an even bigger problem. This was Caroline Bailey's bedroom.
I'm constantly calling them, emailing them.
Water dripped from the ceiling. A white tarp sagged from the weight it held. She said it's been like this for years.
This is not fair. This is not fair. No one has to live like this. And they tell me, oh, we're going to get someone, and then they stop answering the phone.
After our first story aired, City Council President Helena Moreno also wanted to see what was going on.
Oh no, this is not right. This is not right.
And how long has it been like this?
Since 2019.
Oh my gosh.
We found the housing complex is owned by a religious nonprofit based out of Tennessee, Global Ministries Foundation, or GMF Preservation of Affordability Corporation. The CEO is Reverend Richard Hamlet, an international evangelist. Because it's a nonprofit, it pays no property tax. Over the years, the Willows faced extensive code enforcement violations.
We've had, over the past few years, probably about 6 or 7 complaints about that property.
After Moreno's visit to the Willows, code enforcement showed up, taking pictures and compiling reports. While we were touring the complex with code enforcement inspectors, Richard Hamlet called. He vowed to make changes.
And I'm going to do everything I can do, and I'll commit to New Orleans to do the best I can and spend our money like we are to make this property more of to make it, turn it around to be a shining light within that community.
After our first stories aired, Sierra Dobard and Caroline Bailey did see some improvements.
So they actually cut out the wall and replaced it with some more sheetrock. This is done.
We discovered the nonprofit also owns Park Fontaine in Algiers and the Belmont in Metairie. The nonprofit received state financing to purchase the properties. Our investigation also found through 990 tax forms that Richard Hamlet makes around $500,000 a year from his nonprofit, and his immediate family members are all on the payroll.
At the end of the day, they're slumlords. I'm currently working with House staff. They are drafting legislation as we speak that would give the City Council the authority to force the Willows to pay property tax.
The Sister Strut Breast Cancer Walk is back.
That's right. Join us, iHeartMedia New Orleans, for our 3K Breast Cancer Awareness Walk, happening on Saturday, March 18th at City Park's Festival Grounds.
The mission is to help raise money and awareness for breast cancer, specifically how it affects the African American community.
Sister Strut New Orleans is proud to stand beside the American Cancer Society to celebrate the strength of our survivors.
Who will you be strutting for?
I stayed more time in a prison than I did in society.
Wilbert Jones spent nearly 50 years in prison for the kidnapping and rape of a nurse. At his trial, authorities withheld evidence that could have exonerated him decades ago. A state law allows Jones to be compensated for his wrongful incarceration, $40,000 a year for a maximum of 10 years. But Attorney General Jeff Landry has tried to fight giving Jones the compensation.
Now the compensation was set in place for exonerated members of society here in the state of Louisiana to get the compensation, and he's being denied that. It's a slap in the face.
To receive compensation, the law says the conviction has to be reversed or vacated, and clear and convincing scientific or non-scientific evidence has to exist that proves factual innocence.
I don't know what they call factual, or what their interpretation of factual. Well, to me, he's factually innocent the day he was exonerated.
For the most part, the statute has worked exactly as it should, compensating those folks who didn't commit the crime. And in fact, that's what the statute says clearly. Factual innocence is those who did not commit the crime.
It has been working well until?
I would say until recent years.
When Malcolm Alexander was exonerated after 40 years in Angola, he was given this dog. He named her Innocence. Malcolm Alexander has proven his innocence with the help of DNA evidence that showed he didn't commit a rape.
Well, the DNA didn't say who it was, but it said who it wasn't, and that was the most important part to me.
But the Attorney General's office is still trying to stop Alexander from receiving $40,000 a year in compensation, like the law allows. The intent of your law is if someone is cleared by DNA evidence, they should receive this money.
Well, exactly. DNA obviously is one of those clear standards that proves that I'm not the person. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there. I didn't play some other role in the crime, then if that's the case, then you obviously don't belong in prison and you should be compensated.
While Alexander still waits, a state Supreme Court decision in Wilbur Jones' case means he will finally start receiving his money.
I was rejoiced. I was so happy. The burden was lifted off of me. And I almost like a shed tears. And it's sorry it took so long.
6 years as a free man, the state tried to prevent him from receiving money the law says he's owed. That move was recently struck down when just this month the Louisiana Supreme Court said Landry's office had a faulty argument and awarded Wilbur Jones compensation. Now married, Jones hopes the money will buy he and his wife a house, but even that can't heal the lasting memories of being wrongfully locked up most of his life.
I could have got the death penalty, but they found me guilty without capital punishment. By the grace of God, they did.
For years, this has come easy for the Carr Cougars. But everything that leads up to this, and oftentimes what comes after this, gets harder by the day.
The reaction of the team was complete devastation.
Kieron Ross's killing back at the beginning of the year was the latest loss of life from Carr's student body. 10 months prior to that, someone shot and killed another classmate, teammate, Caleb Johnson.
It's the same emotion that you bring in and same bullshit you bring to the field.
And these football players' ability to rise above it is the focus of a new documentary called Algiers America, set to debut next spring. Jackson Fager is the project's creator and director.
What I've done here is I've followed one community, one group of people, one team.
What's it like being back? Through both the pandemic and Hurricane Ida, Jackson and his film crew remained alongside the people that love Carr the most. And being a part of it meant letting the people that give this school life tell their story.
Parents ain't perfect. They all up sometimes. We up as coaches. But don't go backwards trying to fix something that you can't control.
Bryce Brown is Carr's head football coach, but he wears more hats than that on a daily basis.
I think that's what goes with any head coach at any school.
At Carr, few have had to deal with the pain and the truth of death quite like Brown has. He's lost 17 players to gun violence since he's been here. But it goes even further than that, because Brown lost his dad to gun violence as well. Which is why the tough conversations that Brown has with his players are so important.
Hey, it be on my mind every day, so it's hard to say, look, my dad is up, I want him, I need him, and he's not here. Only real men know how to express themselves.
A lot of coaches in our communities that come from more affluent places, they only have to focus on the X's and the O's. A lot of our coaches are focusing on things that have absolutely nothing to do with football, but you have to take care of that thing to get to the football.
And the reward comes on National Signing Day, when the players commit to play college football somewhere, anywhere. A chance to experience something beyond the hard life they're living daily in Algiers. Does he Texas A&M or something like that?
So Texas A&M is my dream school.
Okay. Quarterback A.J. Samuel is the headliner of this year's senior class. And while he's looking forward to what comes next, he's also mindful to what the school will need from him when he eventually comes back.
To give back to the people who were here after you.
Carr sends double-digit numbers off to play college football every year. And while Brown sees this simply as him following through on his commitment to his players, it's much bigger than that.
His wins and losses, in my opinion, are bigger than what happens on the football field. He's saving lives. He's putting children in college.
Everybody want to see you become the man that we expect you to be, and you expect out of yourself.
This is why many think this documentary, Carr's story, needs to be told now, more than ever. Because the work to save a child's life and the wait to celebrate a child's achievements never stops, especially in Algiers, America.
Those championships, to me, have no substance and no value. When you see these kids who are living at home without lights sometimes, don't have a meal, and they graduate on May 15th, and they walk across that stage, that's substance.
Good morning, Josh. Well, you know that
jolly old elf really outdid himself this year because Christmas came early here at the Xavier Convocation Center. We're at the Doll and Toy Fund. We've got so many amazing toys and presents for the kids here in New Orleans and beyond. That's the best thing about the Doll and Toy Fund here is that you get to pick out the presents that you want. You having a good time?
Yeah, and I'm incredibly blessed that we get toys. Like, some kids don't even get toys, and I want to thank all the people who gave us these toys to get I want to thank them so much for giving us these toys.
It is a big day for the LSU Tigers as they celebrate their championship, and you know the best way to celebrate a new trophy?
Oh, yeah.
With a parade. It's what Louisiana does best, right? And we've got this big event covered for you on the parade route. Reporters Sean Fazan and Maddie Kurth are there.
The crowds have really picked up. You can certainly sense the historic accomplishment that LSU women's basketball team was able to achieve here. A historic run, and frankly a run I'm not sure even they saw coming.
Party is rolling, right? And you had mentioned that maybe a lot of these people at the parade will be moving their way to the PMAC. Well, I can guarantee you they are. It seems like everyone from the front of the parade route is already starting to make the trek.
In 2 years, she's reached the goal. Now, the hard part is winning it again, but when she gets to the championship games, all she knows how to do is win it because she's 4-0.
That she is 4-0 in national championship game appearances. And look, I mean, it's different when she brings a championship trophy back home.
She's incredible, taking a moment with people all the way towards the back of the parade route to really just give everyone their special time to shine. And then, of course, taking it all in. You don't ever want to take a single moment like this for granted.
As Coach Mulkey takes her time, saying hello to every fan.
Coach Kim, how does it feel?
We're on top of the world, baby.
North Shore Humane Society houses dogs year-round, heartbreakingly lonesome pets, seemingly desperate for a home and a family.
And we do everything we can to get them adopted, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
So volunteers spend time with the pups, walks, socializing, and sometimes an overnight visit.
He was in the shelter for 6 months. I said, wow, we hit the jackpot.
Maria Opp's lotto ticket was Kimber, a stray looked over until Ops and her husband, Lawrence, who goes by Otter, started volunteering at the shelter.
They just bonded very quickly.
It was a bond Maria was desperate to see in her husband, a 28-year Navy veteran forced into early retirement.
I was withdrawing from my last deployment to Iraq and Syria in 2018. I had started having mood issues, withdrawing from functions with family.
These last couple of years has been tough. You know, he struggles with his disabilities, but also his depression and his PTSD.
One of the things that we are really trying hard to do is stem the tide of losing our men and women from service who come home, right? And they're different than they left.
I had gotten dizzy a couple times, and he came into the picture and got really close to me and just started bracing me as I wobbled. And one of the ladies comes out and says, you know, you can take the dogs home as a volunteer for the weekend.
I knew. I knew if I signed him out, he was not coming back to the shelter, so I knew that.
He picked me. I'd like to say I picked him from the Humane Society, but he shopped for the right owner.
Ambitious to take the next step, formally certifying Kimber as a service animal, they enlisted Evan Stewart, owner of K-Pro Canine. He drew parallels from Otter and Kimber's story to his own journey with his dog Phantom.
Good boy. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and Phantom really helps me thrive in our communities without the worries that come with my PTSD specifically.
Kimber just changed his life. He's changed our lives.
Over the course of the year, his prescription meds dwindled from 12 to just 4. It appeared Kimber was just what Otter's doctor ordered.
He said Kimber was the best medicine that he couldn't prescribe a better medication.
It hit me that there was an opportunity to take animals that are in the shelter, partner with somebody like K-Pro, and turn them into service dogs.
Inspired by these two, Bernier and Stewart created the Shelter to Service program. Miss B is the first graduate of the program. Paired with Navy veteran Amy Weiser just weeks ago, the program is already benefiting the community and clearing space to rescue more animals.
You are not only saving a dog's life in this particular situation with our shelter to service program, but you are most often at least enabling a life to thrive in a human being, if not saving their life for sure.
With Kimber, he had somebody else. You know, Kimber relied on him. They relied on each other. And I believe they saved each other.